there's nothing like cracking that cellophane and pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father.
Man, this stuff rocks.
This is Estevan Vega, founder of Capulet Fest and Capulet Entertainment, and you are listening to BODS Mayhem Hour, the sickest radio program out there.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Hour, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, aka the Bod Father. And as always, I bring you guys and gals awesome interviews. Today it's an honor and a huge privilege to welcome Estevan Vega, founder of Capulet Fest and Capulet Entertainment. Capulet Fest kicks off this Saturday, July 1st at Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park in Thompson, Connecticut, and will end on Sunday, July 2nd with performances by, now hang on now, Norma Jean, which they've been on my podcast, Memphis May Fire, All That Remains, Emery, Uncured. Uncured has been on my podcast. Dead by Wednesday, they've been on the podcast. So a lot of these bands it's going to be here have been on the podcast. I take pride in that, So plus many more things that's going on. And plus this mega event has something for everybody, from amazing food and drinks to exciting entertainment and activities with a wide variety of vendors, food trucks, and a beer truck on site. And I'm not telling you guys to go grab the beer hose and spray everybody like Stone Cold did, but if Estevan says that's cool, maybe I'll work something out. But you'll never go hungry or thirsty. And plus, we're gonna have a big fireworks at the end on Sunday. So
on both nights. Fireworks.
So both nights. Oh, we're going extravaganza here. We're going Saturday and Sunday. Wow,
yes,
so good deal. Man, welcome to the podcast, and hope I got everything in there. And how you doing?
Dude, I'm doing so good, man. Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome. I'm glad to be on here.
You're an author and a big fan of music. But what led you to create Capulet Fest and even attempt to see if it could be a possibility creating this event and finding a location that will hold the festival and the style of music you wanted for the festival? Because that's a lot of stuff to take into consideration to get this ball rolling, man.
Yes, it is, man. I think it's been in the back of my head for about 10 or 11 years. I remember talking to a group of friends of mine who are musicians. And I had told them I wanted to create a festival, something like a Warped Tour event specifically for Connecticut. And I was talking about that back in 2012 when I first created Capulet Entertainment. So it's been kind of in the pipeline in the back of my head, but for the better part of a decade, I had no clue on how to do something of this magnitude, So I definitely needed several years under my belt, booking a lot of shows, dealing with a lot of bands and agents and managers and that sort of thing and venues, to be able to actually, level up and do something of this size. Last year was our first year doing Capulet Fest. We did it. It was one day, and we did it in Providence at Fett Music Hall, 2 stages, but one day. And then this year we're pulling out all the stops, man. We're doing 2 stages, 2 days. Like you said, food trucks, vendors, fireworks. It's going to be awesome. We're really trying to make this thing epic,
I like how you guys are doing the 2 days. I feel like festivals overdo it, and I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it right up. 2 days is fine. 4 days, too long. I feel like that's too long. And, people has jobs. They can't and there's bands that they want to see and they can't.
Yeah.
But if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But I'm glad you guys are doing the 2 day. I appreciate that as a fan, because that's hard on somebody to do 4 days.
Man. It's not just hard on you as an attendee, but it's hard on trying to coordinate all the talent together, trying to coordinate employees or volunteers, trying to coordinate the venue to be able to house it for so many days. Like, there's so much logistics that go into something like this. It's quite the undertaking,
I tried. I wanted to do one just local for one day, and I was like, hell no.
It's a lot, dude.
No.
I would say just start with a show, do a
Yeah.
couple of those, and then you'll understand. It's like multiply that by like 100, and you'll be close.
Man, I'll give you a high five right there, brother. You're doing it.
Yeah, high five back, man. Thanks.
So we're gonna get into to the inaugural one, but I want to know this: how soon did you start planning for this year's Capulet Fest, or was it even in the back of your mind say, I don't know, let's see what all happens here?
So I mean, I was definitely thinking about it. I mean, like the day of Capulet Fest last year, I was thinking about like already, like, okay, what could we do next year? But as far as when we started like reaching out to, managers and agents and that sort of thing, I would say October, November of last year. So yeah, a lot of months in the making.
Yeah, and people don't understand that. Even when you've got, say, like 2023, I'm sure you're already thinking about 2024 right now.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
see,
sir.
it's a never-ending process, and kudos to you guys who do it, because that's a hard job to do that, to bring all this in.
It's kind of like when you see those massive properties or those big farms that have to get mowed, and you're like, the second that guy finishes mowing the lawn, he's got to start back at the beginning of the property and just redo it,
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, Estevan, did you want to make this festival different than the rest of the festivals that's out today? And I know it's kind of hard to do, but did you want to just do something else that some other festival that did not have that you guys have?
So my main focus was just making sure that it had my DNA on it. I wanted to have a lot of the bands that I'm a fan of, obviously. I wanted to have definitely a stamp of New England on it. So we have several bands who are from the area. And I wanted to have basically a wide variety of rock bands. As long as it fell under the umbrella of rock, I wasn't super particular on like, oh, well, this rock is allowed, this rock is not allowed. It was like, we have everything from like, rock pop to rock alternative to hard rock to more radio friendly rock to metal, metalcore. We have some heavier stuff than that. So I mean, like, I wanted to have like a wide variety represented, you know what I mean? And have all those pieces kind of culminate into a festival.
I got to know this, though. What about these local bands who are definitely great? I mean, should be signed, should be on a record label, who are busting their asses off. What about giving the spotlight to them on this festival? Is that a go as well?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so from Connecticut, we have Dreamwake, we have Gina Fritz, we have Little Us, and then we have a band from Rhode Island, Saved by Scarlet. Oh, and Dead by Wednesday is from Connecticut too. I mean, so all really good bands. And then, like I said, Saved by Scarlet's from Rhode Island. We have All That Remains, obviously, from Massachusetts. Within the Ruins is from Massachusetts. So, I mean, we really wanted to have, New England and the surrounding Northeast represented, basically, in addition to all the huge national acts too. So
what did you learn from the inaugural event in 2022 that you definitely wanted to do better or maybe go smoother for this year's festival?
Basically just having really good communication between us, the agents, the artists, all the advance info with production, making sure all the needs are met, starting the advertising earlier. That was a big one. We really pushed this one hard. I mean, we have billboards in like 3 or 4 states. We have 5 different radio stations across New England, hyping the event, doing giveaways, that sort of thing, doing interviews with bands and myself, pushing it really hard on the social pages, and then just reaching out to awesome interviews like this and different podcasts, and just kind of extending the community, reaching out to other people who are interested in this kind of thing. Sending out press releases to like some of the big websites. We got mentioned by Lambgo and Loudwire. Those were dreams of mine to get on. So that was pretty cool. And then just like, acquiring a bigger venue, acquiring the food trucks, acquiring the fireworks. My wife was dead set on having fireworks since it was the predecessor, leading up to 4th of July weekend. So she's like, we gotta have fireworks. So like, that was, I have to agree, it was a great idea.
Man, I've been so busy, I didn't even think about that. I was like, they're gonna have fireworks, and then you just said it, then just popped in my head. Like, oh god, next week is 4th of July. What the hell?
Dude, it sneaks up on you, man. The whole year comes and you're like, holy crap, how are
Yeah.
we?
Yeah, tell me about it. And this is my sanctuary. I mean, me doing this is my drug, dude. I
Mhm.
love meeting you guys and having my little community. But I might as well go announce this right now in case I've not announced this at all. But BODS Mayhem Hour is coming back to online radio. So we will have the podcast still plus online radio. And when you have this go next year, you better send me your stuff because I'll start playing it early and put it in rotation.
Awesome.
That
That'd
is
be
for
great.
sure. So you got all the way down here in Kentucky talking about it.
That's great, man.
So get everybody up there for a little while.
Yes, sir. I would love to do some stuff in the South and
Come
maybe
on.
the West. That we gotta have a couple successes, and then we can kind of,
Let's work on doing BODS
Branch
Fest.
out.
I want to do BODS Fest. BODS
There you
Metal
go.
Fest is what I want
There
to
you
do.
go. That's
So-
cool, man.
Once you were able to get sponsors and seeing a few bands start to get booked for the festival, did all that nervousness go away, or did it still itching at you?
I don't know if the nervousness ever stops. It's kind of like it's like a revisiting of high school when you're like not ready for the final, And even though you think you're ready, and then you're like your brain goes blank for a little bit when you're taking the test, You're like, am I really ready for this? I was talking to the production guys yesterday because I was at another event yesterday that the guys who were doing my festival were doing that festival, and they're like, yeah, it's next week. Are you ready? I'm like, I guess. I'll ask me on July 3rd if I'm ready, because it would have already happened and the panic has stopped. Like I said, I mean, I always kind of freak out before shows. I always feel like there's never enough time to get all the stuff you got to get done. There's always stuff that creeps up last minute that you either forgot about or you didn't realize was happening, or dealing with different circumstances and that sort of thing. But I would say, yeah, we're about as ready as can be for something of this size.
Was it difficult to find a location? Like when you first started bringing this up to people, were they like on board, or did they say it's going to be hard to find a place to have this at?
So what's cool is that the relationship with the Speedway actually started last year. Or it started in 2021. We were set to actually do Capulet Fest at the Speedway for 22, but it was just I think it was because it was a first year festival. Some of the artists we reached out to were either unavailable or I don't know that they had enough faith in us to do the festival. And so we definitely acquired still a pretty sick lineup, I think. But it just wasn't big enough to do it at the Speedway, So that's why I decided to do it at a local venue last year. Kind of stoke the fire first. Let's get our feet wet. Let's try 1 year first. And then this year I was like, all right, we're going to throw all the bazookas at this thing and we're going to do it,
How excited are you to see this festival now in its second year at this time, man, and just knowing that it's moving on like a freight train?
Yeah, man. I think when I saw that final flyer poster, when that was all finalized, I think that's when it like really sunk in. Like obviously once you secure, like once we secured All That Remains and Amberlynn and Memphis May Fire, it's like, yeah. And obviously Norma Jean, they were a big dream band for me to have on there. And I mean, once you got those guys, it's like, holy crap, like,
yeah,
this is real. It's happening. It's like, it's going to happen, And then when you see all the bands together and you look at like what 7 or 8 months of working has actually culminated to, that it's a great feeling, it's crazy. 'Cause you're like, how did we do this? But yeah, it's a great feeling, man. Really, for sure.
What bands did you have in mind for this year's festival? And realistically, which ones did you think would be part of it? And are there any that are on this festival right now that you're going to fanboy out possibly?
Yeah. Well, all the headliners, definitely. So Memphis, Norma Jean, All That Remains, Amberlynn, definitely all of those guys. I really wanted a Skylit Drive. I really wanted Emery. I really wanted Woe Is Me. for the Fallen Dream. So like a lot of these bands were bands that we wanted for the first year, but it just didn't happen, you know? So to see those bands all commit and believe in the festival, that was a huge like spirit lifter, you know,
Sure.
and faith builder, I would say. Like okay, we have other bands that I've been wanting to work with for a long time believe in this thing. So that was huge, you know. And then obviously I love the dudes in Spoken and Set for the Fall and Convictions. We've done a bunch of shows with those guys. And I'm excited to work with new bands like Secrets and Nerve and Within the Ruins. I mean, there's so many bands. I don't want any band to feel left out. We love all of you guys, okay? But you know, there's like 38 to mention, so I'm not going to go through all of 38 of them. But we're excited to work with all of them. But yeah, I'm always like, my shows are usually all bands that I love. That's the reason why I book them. So I'm always kind of fanboying out at my shows.
And this
if
is
I have time to. I'm usually running around with like a chicken with no head, but I usually try to catch a couple of the songs of each set if I can, you know.
Yeah. And you know, this is a pretty impressive list because especially for 2 days for 38 bands, that's impressive to have that many, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, and we did our best to stagger the lineup too. So like you should be able to catch like all of the bands or almost all of the bands, you know, or maybe catch like, you may not see the entire set, but you can catch like at least 10-15 minutes of each set. Like, and the stages are not super far away. They're all within, you know, close walking distance. So like, you know, just pretend you're Quicksilver or the Flash and just bounce back and forth, man. It's
Yeah.
going to be a great time.
That puts me in mind of like the old Ozfest. You know, they had 2 stages. You just bounce back and forth to, you know, to the bands you want to watch. And I loved Ozfest. I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah, man. We're trying to be, you know, something that epic for New England, you know.
Has the Capulet Fest, Estevan, met your expectations at this point? Has it met your expectations, or are you just scratching that surface?
I think it's only begun to meet my expectations of what it can be, you know. We're at year 2. And just to see the growth from last year is exponential, you know, from doubling the lineup to doubling the days to this year we're having vendors and fireworks and food trucks, you know, and beer trucks and that sort of thing. And just the production value that we're bringing, like it's going to be so awesome. So that aspect of it for sure has met my expectations and exceeded them. And then seeing what we were able to do with the lineup, that has met my expectations. What I'm just most excited for is hearing all the fan feedback after the show. I can't wait to hear from the podcasters and the magazines who are coming out and the press who are coming out and the attendees and the fans of these bands who are coming out. And hopefully, you know, obviously please tag and mention Capulet ENT on all your posts so that we can see all the awesome stuff, you know, and all the experiences, and we can experience it and re-experience it with you guys. But I'm most excited to see that. So I think that, yes, I think it's twofold. I think on one hand, yes, it's already exceeded my expectations. But the next level is like, okay, where do I believe that this can go from here? And I think that from what we did from year 1 to here is exponential growth. I think it's basically, we're going to launch a rocket ship and just freaking next year, it's going to be even bigger. So I'm hoping that every year we grow and grow and grow and that everyone just keeps growing with us and rocking out with us.
I want to know this though. You mentioned like the growth from like, especially sales from year 1 to year 2. How much has the sales increased that you've seen from year 1 to year 2 as far as ticket sales? Like, has it like doubled or tripled or slowly getting there?
So year 1 was, because it was year 1, was not amazing, I would say.
Yeah.
I would say we're 8 to 10 times where we were last year, and we're still, you know, like a week out, you know.
How much local support have you seen for this festival, and how much does this festival help on bringing in revenue for the county and the town there?
That's a good question. I don't know about the county stuff and, and the finances there.
Right.
But the locals are always a big help, because they're part of the scene here, you know, and so local word of mouth, and obviously their fan base, their friends, their parents, their cousins and all that, when they bring all them together, and then you have all that positive word of mouth plus the fans that they have from when they've gone on their mini tours around the Northeast or the East Coast and that sort of thing. A lot of these bands have traveled either nationally or up and down the East Coast or regionally. And so we have people coming from all over, so we have people coming from all over New England. We have people, some flying out from the Midwest. We have people flying out from down south. So it's pretty awesome to see the support for local bands and the national bands. I mean, one of my partners who's been helping me with this festival, he was telling me he was talking to a buddy of his, and they were most excited out of the whole lineup to see Dreamwake.
Oh, wow.
Who was a local band. But that just shows how good they are. It's like, just because you're local doesn't mean that you're just a local band. You know what I mean? You could have the national skill level, even if you're not necessarily national yet. And honestly, that's unfair to them because they actually have toured nationally and they've been on huge shows, and they've played shows with Currents and other big bands like that. So it's really dynamic to see. And Dead by Wednesday has traveled the world playing shows, and they've been around for like 20 years or plus. So the talent we have in this event is really epic, I think.
So what have the folks told you or mentioned that they would like to see you incorporate in year 2 that possibly wasn't there in year 1? Like vendors, stuff like that. I mean, have they reached out and say, hey, we'd like to see this, let's, if you can, have you had that?
Sure. So things that were popular last year at some of my other shows were like the meet and greet experiences or the VIP experience. So we're definitely having those. For VIPs, we were offering like, a cool festival bag and, merch, t-shirts, that sort of thing. So cool things like that, as well as the VIPs also get an air-conditioned, really kind of upscale bathroom. So, that's nice if it's a really hot day.
Sure.
And then apart from that, having the food trucks, that's a win. Having the beverage trucks and the beer trucks and that sort of thing, that's a win. Having vendors and, incorporated within the merch section, that's a win. Having unique podcasters and people like what you're doing, because we're going to have several of those people at the festival too, doing interviews with the bands, doing interviews with the audience. We also have some radio personalities who are going to be the MCs of both stages. So the outside stage, the inside stage are both going to have MCs both days, engaging with the audience. So things like that. And then obviously having the fireworks spectacular. That's going to be one of the coolest parts of the day too. So
when they leave this event on Sunday, what do you hope everyone takes away from this festival, man? What do you hope they get from it?
I want them all to say that was the coolest freaking experience of this whole year. That's what I want. I want everyone's caption to be, holy crap, that was epic,
So we're going to talk about you just personally here, about your music side, because I want to get your music take on a few things. We'll test your music knowledge, as I should say. If you could write an album equivalent to your favorite band's album, which album would that be?
Oh man.
Put you on the hot seat.
So I would say I've had so many like favorite albums because different parts of my life, different records have affected me differently, and I've grown to appreciate certain records more and certain records, less, depending on where I'm at in my life, but I would say an album that like was pivotal in my growing up years, especially on the heavier side of things, was Define the Great Line by Under Oath. So I would say I still love that album. I still think that's their best album that they've ever put out. Yeah, I would say I would make an album like Define the Great Line. It's so hard because like Norma Jean has some albums that like my favorite album by Norma Jean is Redeemer. So like I love that album too. Like it's hard to say, but like the first one that came to my brain when you asked me was Define the Great Line. But I have so many favorites, you know, it's hard.
Now, this could be in any era. Don't care. Band could be disassembled, whatever. But if you could be a member in an iconic band and play one of their legendary shows, which band would it be and what show would it be?
So I really love the band Wolves at the Gate.
Okay.
So I would say Wolves at the Gate, Capulet Fest 2024.
There you go. There you go. All right, Estevan.
If they're listening, play my festival next year.
There you go. Yeah, play his damn festival, folks. Come on. Just do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. All right, Estevan, how can folks still buy tickets, get everything arranged for this weekend to come out to Capulet Fest 2023? How can you do that, good sir?
Go to capuletfest.com. Everything's on there. The full lineup is on there. All the details. We have, like I said earlier, we have VIP upgrades. We have meet and greet upgrades. And then we have the Capulet Royal Pass, which is the best ultimate upgrade. That includes everything. You get your weekend pass, you get your VIP amenities, you get the free merch, you get the meet and greets with all 6 of the bands who are doing the meet and greets, and you get VIP parking. So that's the best deal. And I would just say, yeah, go to capuletfest.com. We also have social media pages, Capulet ENT on Facebook and Instagram. So please follow and like our pages and mention us anytime you can. And we'll see you this weekend. It's going to be sick.
Before I let you go, Mr. Estevan, will you care to do a promo for my show?
Definitely. This is Estevan Vega, founder of Capulet Fest and Capulet Entertainment, and you are listening to BODS Mayhem Hour, the sickest radio program out there.
Oh, look at there. He's flirting with me. I like that. I like that. All right, folks, you want to get out and check out the Facebook page. There's our podcast link and our YouTube link, and you definitely want to subscribe to that YouTube link if you like what I'm doing, and I hope you guys do. This weekend, get out of your houses, go and just have a good weekend with the Capulet Fest that's going to be held at the Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park in Thompson, Connecticut. So get out there and just have some fun, folks. I'll have all these links in this interview that will go out this Thursday. So please, folks, have a good time. Enjoy the weekend. Have some good time with some music friends. Make this huge.
Man. Come get sweaty with us.
There you go.
Let's make this one for the books so we can keep doing this and make it more epic even next year. It's going to be great.
Yes, sir. Estevan, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I wish you nothing but the best of luck with this, man.
Thank you so much, man. This was great. Appreciate it.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.